Some people were asking me to do a subtitles on that video, which would take me forever. So I'm just going to read through this article, which is why I did that video in Spanish today. So just to give you an idea, because I thought that this was fascinating. The order of the Descalz Carmelites have expelled a friar for having very firm ideas. So we'll just go through it. Now this is I've just pulled up the translation, the Google Translate, but I think it gets the essence. You can get the essence of what is going on here. The Order of Descalced Carmelites in Spain have decided to expel the friar Abel de Jesus, who is known for having a YouTube channel where he shared his evangelizing ideas. Some may think that this may be the cause of his dismissal, the use of social media networks by a friar. But the reality is quite different. He's been expelled for being too rigid when it comes to defending the monastic lifestyle of the order he entered. Through a video posted on his YouTube channel, the former friar tells how the superiors had decided that he had to leave the order, even though he was quite convinced that that was his way. It is paradoxical that with the scarcity of both religious and priestly vocations, this type of decision was made. Abel de Jesus explained that the main reason is a difference in lifestyle that they consider to be incompatible with their stay in the province of the Descalz Carmelites in Spain. The former religious laments how some of the traditional practices of religious life have been subjected to a process of politicization, and this has given rise to historical sides and rivalries. He cites in particular things such as the use of the habit, such as a counter-cultural identity, fixed times of prayers, and the practice of external silence. He affirms that he never wanted to belong to any side or create division, but that he considered that was his own way of being religious. I was convinced that using a habit was his own way of being a friar today in these times, Abel emphasizes. Already last year, he intervened as a guest at the meeting of the General Chapter of Superiors with a letter in which he expressed his opinion, and that caused some internal stir to assume that he had the support of the previous superior who encouraged him to present that brief. In that writing, Abel de Jesus talks about recovering the above, such as the use of the habit, the importance of taking care of the 2 hours of daily mental prayer, and also of external silence, something that is apparently being lost within the order. This could have been the beginning of the end of the Descalz Carmelite. There are many of the reasons or ideas that have been established as reasons to establish that this was not my way due to incompatibility, says the former Carmelite. In addition, in the video he reveals that in the letter they wrote to me, they referred to all these ideas, which declared them as very firm. These ideas refer to the use of the habit, the external practice of silence, and liturgical modes closer to the traditional ones, says Abel. So there you have the translation from that Info Vaticana. It's a Spanish news website that published that. And I just find it fascinating. that the Descalz Carmelites, they asked him to participate in the General Chapter as a young religious. And he offered his ideas, that you should wear a habit, that you should, pray, and there should be silence. I mean, as a layman with family, what wouldn't I give for time for prayer? Like real time, like to be able to go away for extended period, to have silence and to go into prayer. Like I used to go to Mount Athos where I could, find some prayer time, real good prayer time. But I just don't have the time. And I'm working. It's just not possible. It's very hard at the moment, especially when you've wife, kids, work, and other stuff. But this man had given his life to that. And instead of encountering encouragement, mentorship, support to draw him into the religious life, because he wants to live his identity. What's the point in being a religious if you don't have an identity? What is the point in going into religious life or the priesthood if you do not have an identity? Be who you're called to be. Be who you're called to be. Don't be aligned to the world. You know, there's this rush in the church to destroy anything traditional, to destroy, I don't know, the heritage and the history and the traditions of the Catholic Church. And sooner or later it's going to fail because, you know, the church is rushing us towards hell. It simply is, from what I can see with that synodal process. It's rushing to destroy practically every form of identity that we have as Catholics. We can't even use holy water in our church here. We can't even, you know, if a religious can't even wear their habit, what's the point? You know, if you're not going to spend time in prayer, real time in prayer and silence, what's the point? What's the point in having a rite of the Mass that was celebrated for hundreds of years, and all of a sudden we're rushing off to get rid of it? I don't know. I mean, and this man, from what I can see, he wasn't advocating traditional Latin Mass that I'm aware of. He was just advocating, you know, religious identity as somebody. You know, we need more people to have firm ideas, as they said in that article. We need firm ideas because the world hates people standing up for Christ. The world hates anybody who stands up for the gospel, for what Christ asked for. You know, it's quite incredible, I think, at this time. But anyway, I just thought I'd translate that because people have been asking, and it's a very sad time in the church. And I think people forget, like in Poland, there's been 24 religious like him that have had to leave their religious communities and so forth for having ideas that are very firm. You know, there are dozens now of cancelled priests and cancelled religious around the world who have stood up and said, no, you that we're not going back there. We're not going back to that. You need to walk to this. I mean, it's the new generation of religious and priests. They don't not want 1970s felt Catholicism, kumbaya guitar, you know. I mean, we've had that. We've had it. Tens and tens of thousands of priests and religious left the church in the 1970s, ushering in this new springtime of the church, which never arrived. It was like the false spring. Everything came, and then came the ice age afterwards, and it all, you know. So let's see what's happening. But it'll be interesting. From what we can see now, Islam now is the world's #1 religion. It's overtaken Catholicism. So it's very interesting to see what's happened in this world. We don't live our faith. We don't defend our faith. We don't know God. We don't know Christ. We're not able to stand up for what we believe in anymore. And when somebody does stand up to say what they do believe in, they get cancelled. Anyway, pray for him. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.